A very good afternoon, fellow cruise aficionados, and welcome to our quick post-cruise review first impressions of Norwegian Encore. We just got back from a Caribbean cruise on board this beautiful ship, and while the sunburn is still fading and the memories are still fresh, I wanted to share our initial thoughts on this very unusual for me journey. This cruise is very much a first for me, a solo adventure. Since my beautiful wife Irina unfortunately couldn't take time off, I had to cruise solo. I was determined to balance the budget and experience and wanted to keep the costs down without skimping on the good stuff. I'll cover the ships, the ports, what I liked and what I didn't care for, and at the very end I will try to give you my honest summary of whether or not I would consider a cruise like this again. Let's get going. I booked the most affordable option, a guaranteed studio cabin. Actually, I was pretty excited about the cozy, compact space of such location, something oddly charming about snug nook like that at sea. However, I've got a bit of upgrade, an inside accessible cabin 11423. I did try to swap it back to a studio cabin, but neither myself nor my rockstar travel agent, and seriously she is amazing, couldn't unupgrade me. No drama, at the very end the cabin was more than fine, surprisingly spacious, almost comically so for one person. And the bathroom, well, I can say it felt like a ballroom in its own way. Of course, there were few quirks with that cabin being accessible. The self-opening and closing door moved at 12 snail's pace, and I had a hard time manually overriding that thing when I wanted to just get out and get going. One had to wait for it to close. The shower, of course, had a curtain instead of a glass, quite understandably so, and the bathroom mirror, unexpectedly for me, was angled downwards, making shaving and applying makeup, I assume. That was kind of weird and entertaining, more entertaining than it should be. Well, still, none of that dampened my experience, and I enjoyed the cabin all the same. The studio lounge was okay. It's located on deck 11, has connection to deck 12 and 10 via the inside staircase, and it does not have any windows or bar for that matter. Unlike other NCL ships, which sometimes boast a proper watering hole in their lounges, that would be a plus. On a bright side, there was a solid coffee machine, the best on the ship, snacks, water, juices, comfy chairs, and board games. That said, I didn't really spend a lot of time there. Whenever I wanted to work on my video or other content, I was just gravitated towards the more social areas in the rest of the ship. Usually observation lounge on deck 15 or atrium on deck 6. I very strategically pick places close to a bar and a power outlet, in that order of importance. Speaking of the observation lounge, loved it. It felt way more spacious than the one on NCL Prima last year, with a bar and some decent snack options in the morning and afternoon. And of course, the panoramic views were absolutely breathtaking. Now let's talk a little bit about the real stars of the cruise, the crew. They were phenomenal. Friendly, upbeat, and hardworking. I know they always are, but in this particular case, there was something outstanding about the entire crew, and I wanted to just say thank you to all of them. And if you are sailing on the Encore again, be sure to say hi to Mary Jane at the whiskey bar. Hands down, she is the best bartender on 7 seas. As for food and drinks, I was pretty happy overall, no complaints whatsoever. Yeah, the main dining room has a shrunk portion and shrunk menu overall, and but you can order as many portions as you want. They're just trying to reduce waste, I would guess. So no problem there. The buffet was fantastic as always. No lines, very solid choices pretty much every time I went there for breakfast and dinner. For breakfast and lunch, I should say. I've never tried it for dinner. I tried the hibachi, thanks to a premium dining credit on my package, and while the experience was expectedly fun, like it would be with the hibachi, I wouldn't shell out $50 for it next time. Entertaining? Absolutely. Worth the extra cash? Probably not for me. The ship's design and layout were a pleasant surprise. Initially, I was taken aback by a smallish atrium, just 2 stories tall with no grand staircases that we expected. But it worked just fine. It felt functional, never was crowded, and the upper level seating on deck 7 was a great vantage point for people watching or enjoying a meal from the local bar and grill, which is open 24/7 by the way and is complimentary. Small selection, but plenty of choices, nevertheless. There's another lobby towards the center of the ship with the staircase I was expecting in the first place, so if you miss those classic cruise aesthetics, there they are. One thing NCL did really well was managing crowds on the ship. 4,000 people. And other than the pool deck, which, let's face it, is always packed no matter who you're cruising with, I rarely felt overwhelmed by people. This certainly has been helped by the fact that I've splurged for the Vibe Club experience, an adult-only retreat on decks 19 and 20. It had plenty of loungers, a dedicated bar with fantastic staff, showers, restrooms, 2 hot tubs, and even a misting contraption for when the sun was going too feisty. Shade was a bit sparse, but they brought out umbrellas when we were docked. There is a brand new H2O zone for this ship, an adults-only area, free of charge, at the very back of the ship. It's recently replaced the laser tag arena, but there is a kicker. As of March 2025, the water features weren't working yet. No hot tubs, no splash pools. Well, they're there was just no water in them, which sort of takes H2O out of the name. The bar, however, was fully functional, so all was forgiven. Now, on to the ports of call. A bit of a mixed bag again, but no major complaints. Puerto Plata was fine. We explored town on foot last time we docked here, but this time around I just walked the port village, which seems to have expanded since we visited it last time. St. Thomas, US Virgin Islands, was a highlight for me. We've always loved the island, and this time I've decided to simply venture to Paradise Point. With 5 ships in port, including the Icon of the Sea, the largest ship in the world, I opted to skip the gondola ride to the Paradise Point and simply hike the road instead. It is about a 30-minute trek, expectedly uphill all the time, so you have to be in an okay shape to take it upon yourself. I've actually never met a single other person that took that trek other than myself. But the views along the way, and especially from the top, are spectacular. The best part is the cost. $0. You cannot beat that. Now to British Virgin Islands, or Virgin Islands as they like to call themselves. In Tortola, I took a very basic island tour just around circling the island, and that was using my tour credit, so only 20 bucks out of pocket plus 5 or so bucks in tips. The open-air safari bus too was quite enjoyable for the price especially. The island wasn't really anything exciting, but I like the stops in Cay Garden Bay, on the beach, and the Frenchman's Cay Marina. Small tip for you, in the marina you can grab a pricey beer at Passer's Rum Bar, or head a few steps down literally to a Rightway Harbor Market, a tiny convenience store, well, not so tiny, for a cheaper brew, which you can just grab out of the fridge. They have can openers right there, so I just enjoyed on the little area that had outside, and since it's BVI, nobody cares about open containers. Our final stop was Great Stirrup Cay, NCL's private island. I snorkeled around the sculpture gardens a little bit, tried to find a spot in the sun, but didn't really linger too long there with no pier yet, although they seem to be constructing one. Tender boats limit your time ashore, plus it's really tough to find a quiet and shaded spot, so eventually I just retreated to the Vibe Club on board the ship. Let's switch gears to entertainment. The experience again was a bit of a hit and miss. The Choir of Men wasn't my cup of tea. Please forgive me. It wasn't bad, it's just not my thing. Frankly, NCL's concept of having a single feature show, such as the Blue Man Group years back, or Donna Summer last year, those just feel a little odd. I personally prefer production shows that offer a wider variety of show options, which is done extremely well on Royal Caribbean. The Beatles' Invasion also fell flat, sorry, it was just my opinion. I love Beatles, don't get me wrong, but this tribute band just didn't quite capture the magic in my mind. So that I'm not complaining about everything, the comedians from the Levity group were a solid hit. I caught a couple of shows and they were quite good. Both of the versions, kids-friendly and the After Dark type, were quite enjoyable. And equally enjoyed Tito, the magician. Both the main show and the trick revealing session later on in a smaller crowd were super entertaining. There were live music all around the ship and high-energy glow party under the perfect weather. Real blast, enjoyed it. And this is really all I wanted to share in this quick review or preview. As promised now, I wanted to spend a moment reflecting back and summing it all up. Is the solo cruise enjoyable? It certainly was for me. If I had a choice, cruising with your loved ones, family or partner is definitely more fun, absolutely no doubt about it. But in solo mode, it didn't bore me at all. Not for a moment. There were some advantages. If a show, dinner, or a combination or destination don't excite me, I just turn around without having to consider how that would impact my partners or the crowd that I'm with. Now, on the flip side, not having someone to bounce the experience off was a bummer. Yet, it gave me a reason to hang out at the bar and make some new friends. I also missed a bit of nightlife. I'm not much of a dancer, but Irina, of course, is, and I always enjoy just goofing off at night parties with her. Being there by yourself was just a little odd for me, so I didn't go party at night as much as we usually do. Did I enjoy the budget part of the experience? Absolutely. I felt that I got a tremendous bang for my buck. About $250 a night American for an all-inclusive deal. That includes the drinks and everything else. Was the inside room for the first time ever a problem? Not at all. If anything, it was a bonus, since it forced me to go out and hang out in public areas, make friends again. All things considered, I really enjoyed the ship, the vacation, the destinations, and the company of strangers I ran into. Give me a shout out in the comments if we crossed paths on this or any other cruises. We will have a few more videos coming up with a full ship walkthrough, some of the destinations, and quite a few other things that we wanted to cover for this cruise. So if you enjoyed this video so far, please consider subscribing so you don't miss those pieces. And ring a bell and give me some comments down below. We don't monetize or sell travel packages, just sharing our experience. Cheers and happy cruising!